Okay, now, of course, we move to solving problems regarding, of course, this chapter, cost and cost minimization. Let me read the problem over here. Saying a computer products retailer purchases laser printers from a manufacturer at the price of $500 per printer. Okay? So during the year, the retailer will try to sell the printers at a price higher than $500. That's natural, of course. But may not be able to sell all of the printers at the end of the year. Of course, may not be able to sell all of the printers. Now, at the end of the year, the manufacturer will pay the retailer 30% of the original price for any unsold laser printers. No one other than the manufacturer would be willing to buy these unsold printers at the end of the year. So here, a retailer buys laser printers, at a price of $500. Of course, the manufacturer, gives an offer for that retailer that at the end of the year, any unsold laser printer, the retailer, the manufacturer will pay 30% of the original price. So 30% of the, the price, which is $500. Therefore, the question A, at the beginning of the year, okay, before the retailer has purchased any printer, what is the opportunity cost of a laser printer? Of course, remember what we said about opportunity cost. We said that, during the lecture, that the concept of opportunity cost is forward-looking, that it measures the value the decision maker sacrifices at the time the decision is made and beyond. Okay, and of course, the forward-looking nature of opportunity cost implies that opportunity cost can change as time passes and circumstances change. We said that. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, before the retailer has purchased any printer, of course, the opportunity cost of a laser printer is the current price at that, at the beginning of the year. What is the current market price? Of course, at the beginning of the year is $500. Okay, is $500 over here. Therefore, from the firm's perspective, the opportunity cost, remember, of an input is the current market price of that input or good. Therefore, the opportunity cost, of laser printer is the current market price of the input, which is, we're talking about the laser printer. Therefore, the opportunity cost at the beginning of the year is $500. Great. Now, B, after the retailer has purchased the laser printer, what is the opportunity cost associated with selling a laser printer to a prospective customer? Okay? Assume that if this customer does not buy the printer, it will be unsold at the end of the year. Remember, as far as the opportunity cost is concerned, we said, opportunity costs are forward-looking. So what that means? It means when evaluating the opportunity cost of a certain decision, okay, we need to identify, of course, the value of the alternatives that the decision, can foreclose or can make in the future. Therefore, assuming that, of course, that no customer buys, any customer buys a laser printer. So at the end of the year, of course, the alternative that, we have to look at the alternative. So when, because of the forward-looking nature of the opportunity cost, then when evaluating the opportunity cost of a certain decision, then we need to identify the alternatives, okay, that the decision can foreclose in the future. What the decision can foreclose in the future. Of course, that is going to be 30% of the original price. So here, at the end of the year, the alternatives, of course, is going to be that the unsold printers will be, sold. They will be, will be bought by the manufacturer, and the manufacturer is offering 30% of the original price. Therefore, 30% of the original price is going to be $150. So here, what I'm saying, the opportunity cost associated with selling a laser printer to a prospective customer, assuming that when the customer does not buy the printer, it will be unsold at the end of the year. Therefore, it's going to be 30% of the $500. This is the opportunity cost, of course. This is the opportunity cost, of course, of this laser printer, assuming that the customer does not buy the printer, and it will be unsold at the end of the year. So the best alternative is to be sold to the manufacturer for 30% of the original price, which is $150. Now, this is exactly based on the concept of opportunity cost. Okay. Okay. So as we said, okay, the forward-looking nature of the opportunity cost, it means that when evaluating, of course, the opportunity cost of a certain decision, we need to identify the value of the alternatives, that the decision can foreclose in the future. The value of the decision, the value of the alternatives that the decision can foreclose in the future is getting 30% of the $500, which is $150. Now, see, suppose that at the end of the year, the retailer still has a large inventory of unsold printers. Okay? Now, the retailer has set a retail price of $1,200 per printer. That's the retail price, $1,200. Okay? A new line of printers is due out soon. New line of printers, of course, is coming soon. And it is unlikely that many more old printers will be sold at this price. Okay, at the price that is set by the retailer, which is $1,200. Now, the marketing manager of the retail chain, the market manager of the firm, okay, the retailing firm, of course, argues that the chain should cut the retail price by $1,000 and sell the laser printers at $200 each. So, because a new line of laser printers, is coming soon, okay, and you have that many more old printers are not sold at the price of $1,200. They will be in the stock. They will be in inventory, okay, and are not sold. So the marketing manager is suggesting that the firm, the retailing firm, cut the price by $1,000, and so that and as a result of this cut in the price, the firm, the retailing firm, okay, will sell the price, or sell the laser printer at what? At $200 each. The retailer would lose $300 on each printer it sells. The general manager of the chain strongly disagrees. He does not like the idea of the marketing manager. Okay, because the market manager is suggesting that the firm, sells, the laser printer for $200 each. Now, the general manager is opposing to this idea, okay, because he points that at $200 each, the retailer would lose $300 on each printer it sells. Why? Because the retailer has purchased each printer for $500 from the manufacturer. So when the firm, the retailer, sells each laser printer for $200, according to the general manager, then the firm is going to lose $300. Now the question here, is the general manager's argument correct? Look over here. Now, remember that selling a laser printer at $200 means that the firm is going to gain $50. Why? Because what is the alternative? Okay? The best alternative for the retailer is what? Is for these, unsold, laser printers to be sent to the manufacturer for what? For 30% of the original price, which means $150. So if the firm is able to sell, each laser printer for $200, it means for the retailer, it means a gain of $50. Therefore, the general manager's argument is wrong. Okay, because that's are the alternatives that is available for the retailer. So the marketing manager of the retail chains arguments is correct. Why? Because the firm, when it sells the printer for $200, it gains $50. Because the alternative is that for these printers to be sold to the manufacturer for 30% of the original price, which is $150. So when the firm sells each printer for $200, it means the firm is able to gain $50, a profit of $50. Therefore, the marketing, manager argument is correct, and the general manager's argument is, not correct. Okay, now we have another problem to solve in this, group of solving problems. Problem 2 in the book, of course, says a grocery shop is owned by Mr. Moore and has the following statement of revenues and cost. Okay, Mr. Moore has the following statement of revenues and cost. Revenues, $250,000, supplies, $25,000, electricity, $6,000, employee salaries, $75,000, Mr. Moore's salary, $80,000. Okay, of course, these appear on economic statement. Mr. Moore always has the option of closing down the shop and renting out the land for $100,000. This shop, of course, is on a land that is owned by Mr. Moore. So Mr. Moore always has the option of closing down the shop and renting out the land for $100,000. Also, Mr. Moore himself has, job offers at a local supermarket at a salary of $95,000 and a nearby restaurant at $65,000. He can only work one job though. At the same time, he can only work one job, not two jobs. Therefore, he has to choose, of course, between working in a supermarket or a nearby restaurant. What are the shop's accounting costs? What are Mr. Moore's economic costs? And should Mr. Moore shut down his shop? Remember that this problem relates to the concepts of accounting cost as well as economic cost. So it's important to differentiate between these two important types of cost. Okay, first we need to find the shop's accounting cost. Remember, accounting cost, refer to the costs that appear on accounting statements. Okay, which include explicit costs that have been incurred in the past. And you know that explicit costs involve direct monetary outlays. Okay, so we need to basically locate or indicate or state the accounting cost of the shop. Okay, now accounting costs, of course, the ones that include direct monetary outlays, we're talking about supplies, which is $25,000. We're talking about electricity, of course, these are explicit costs, $6,000, and these appear on the accounting statements. Employee salaries, okay, $75,000. Employee salary over here, okay, and Mr. Moore's salary. Mr. Moore, the owner of the shop, of course, he receives his own salary from the shop. It's $80,000. Okay, so now we put all of them here. We come up, we add them, and we come up with $186,000. This is, this value, $186,000 is the accounting cost. It's the value of accounting cost, which is the sum of all explicit costs. These are the costs that appear on accounting statements. Now, of course, we need to, what are Mr. Moore's economic costs? Remember, when we talked about economic costs, we said economic costs are synonymous with opportunity costs. And you know that opportunity costs, include explicit plus implicit costs. Okay, now look over here. Of course, as far as the profits of Mr. Moore's, the accounting profit basically, of course, revenue minus the accounting cost. We need to talk about the shop's profits. The shop's profits, is equal to revenue minus accounting cost. Okay, and we get over here, $64,000 because revenue is $250,000 minus the $186,000, which is the accounting cost. We come up with shop's profit $64,000. Okay. Now, we need to look, of course, at Mr. Moore's gain, from this shop, okay, from his business. What is Mr. Moore's gain? We know that the shop's, of course, profits that much, $64,000. But what about Mr. Moore's gain? Okay, Mr. Moore's gain, of course, first he's getting $80,000 as salary, plus the profits that the shops, is making. So $80,000 plus $64,000, okay, and we come up with Mr. Moore's gain from the shop, okay, because he earns, $80,000, okay, and the shops as a whole makes a profit of $64,000. Therefore, as far as Mr. Moore's gain, okay, is going to equal to his salary that he makes plus the profits of the shop that he owns, and therefore his gain from his business or his venture is $144,000. Okay, $144,000. Great. Now, the second question is saying, what are Mr. Moore's economic costs? We said that economic costs are synonymous with opportunity costs. Okay, great. Now, of course, what are the opportunity costs? What are the, the implicit costs? If, for instance, if Mr. Moore close out his shop, okay, then what he will end up getting? Of course, he will end up getting, of course, the $100,000, of course, close up and sell this, of course, then he is going to do what? First of all, remember that if Mr. Moore's, decided, to continue to work his job, what he is going to lose? Of course, he is going to lose, as we said over here, the $95,000. Of course, this is the salary that he receives by working in a nearby salary. Remember, the opportunity cost of a certain alternative is the highest valued alternative foregone. Now we have two alternatives over here, okay? Okay, if he continue to work over here, now what is the opportunity cost of continuing to working with his shop, to work in his shop, is, the highest valued alternative, forfeited or forgone. Here we have two alternatives. We have, working in a local supermarket and making a salary of $95,000, or working in a nearby restaurant and making $65,000. Of course, the best alternative is this, working in a local supermarket and making $95,000. Therefore, we can say here, by not choosing his next best alternative, of course, which is in this case $95,000, and we say that Mr. Moore will lose what? Remember that he is making a salary here $80,000. Okay? Now, the alternative to this is to work here in a supermarket and making what, $95,000. So, by not choosing, his next best alternative, is going to be what? His best alternative in this case is going to be what? $95,000. So, how much Mr. Moore will lose? Look at this scenario. Look at this explanation over here. If, let's say, Mr. Moore is not getting a salary, $80,000. So, by not, choosing his next best alternatives, of course, Mr. Which is in this case $95,000, then he will lose what? $95,000. But however, in this case, he is getting a salary. He is getting $80,000. So the difference between $95,000 and $80,000 is, of course, hey, Mr. This is how much Mr. Moore will lose by not choosing his best next alternative. Because his best next alternative is $95,000. However, he is making $80,000. Okay? So if he continue to work, he will make $80,000. Okay? And his best next alternative, $95,000. So the difference between them is how much he will lose, which is $15,000. This is how much Mr. Moore will lose by not choosing, his best next alternative, which is working in a local supermarket. Great. Now, okay? Now, what are Mr. Moore's then economic cost? Okay? Now, his economic cost will consist of what? Will consist of the, of course, the accounting cost, okay, plus what? His accounting cost, this is what it includes. Accounting cost plus the implicit cost. His implicit cost is going to be, of course, $186,000. Of course, this is the accounting cost over here. Okay, $186,000 plus talking about $100,000. Okay, because he could also, rent his, this is an implicit cost. Okay, this is an implicit cost for, continuing to run his business. Okay, this is 100,000, clear, plus 186,000. This is the accounting cost, plus the difference between, his salary in the shop, which is $80,000, and his next best alternative, which is $95,000. That is $15,000. So we're gonna add the explicit plus the implicit. So the explicit 186 plus $100,000, the implicit, plus what? Plus the difference, 95 minus 80,000. 95,000 minus $80,000, which is $15,000. When we add all of them, we come up with, his economic cost, $301,000. $300,000 and $1,000. This is his economic cost. Okay? Great. Now, the second part of the question, should Mr. Moore shut down his shop? Should he shut down his shop? Of course, here we have to say this, okay? Now remember, when he continued to run the business, his gain, his profit or his gain, he makes $144,000. Okay, $144,000. Now, when he Mr. Shut, of course, when he shuts down his shop, he earns what? When he shut down his shop, he earns what? $100,000 plus $95,000. Because when he shut down his shop, of course, he can rent the land for $100,000, and he can work in the next best alternative, which is making $95,000. So, of course, when he shuts down his shop, he will be able to make, okay, $100,000 plus $95,000, which is $195,000. And if he continue, of course, to open his shop and work in his shop, his gain is going to be $144,000. Therefore, as you can see, Mr. Moore should shut down his shop because he is able to make, $195,000 by shutting down his shop, which is more than if he continued to work in his shop and gain $144,000. So, in the final analysis, Mr. Moore should shut down his shop. Okay. Now we have another problem. Of course, under the part which is solving problems. The problem says, suppose the production of airframe is characterized by a Cobb-Douglas production function, which is Q equal LK. The marginal products for this production function are MBN, the marginal product flavor equal K, and the marginal capital equal L. Suppose the price of labor is $10 per unit and the price of capital is $1 per unit. Find the cost minimizing combination of labor and capital, okay? If the manufacturer wants to produce 121,000 airframes, okay? So to do this, of course, we want to apply the tangency condition. So apply the tangency condition, which is slope of isoquant equal slope of isocosp. That is marginal rate of technical substitution, labor capital, should equal marginal W over R. This is the slope of the isocosp, the slope of the margin of the isoquants. Okay. Therefore, here we see, of course, the marginal rate of substitution is going to equal the ratio of the marginal product labor over the marginal product of capital, should equal W over R. So therefore here, MBL is here. Well, we find the derivative of this Q with respect to L, which is K. So we get here, MPL over MBK is equal K over L. Okay? And so my W over R is going to be equal, W is 10 over 1. So now we get here, we get K over L is equal 10, which means K is equal 10L. Okay, next we notice that the input combination must lie on the isoquants when, the production of 121,000. Therefore, 121,000 is equal, of course, LK, which implies K is equal 121,000 over L. Okay, so now this is here 2, and over here it's 1. So K equal K, which implies 10L is equal 121,000 over L, which implies cross multiplication. We come up with 10L squared is equal 121,000, which implies L is going to be equal, of course, square root of 121,000 over 10, which implies okay, and so L is going to be equal 110. L is equal 110, and so therefore K is equal 10L, which is equal 1,100. Which is equal 10, K is equal 10L. 10L, okay, 10L. L, of course, which is equal, that's what you get over here. Okay, so now this is K and this is L. So he wants, of course, to find the, the combination of labor and capital if the manufacturer wants to produce 121,000 airframes. This is L and this is K. Okay? This is L and this is, of course, K.